Hello, good people of YouTube. My name is Nathan, and today we're back with another video. And today in this video, I'll be talking about baseball. Wow, you know, but before I talk about baseball, I want to talk about the room I'm actually in. I'm actually in my apartment room, and maybe in my previous videos, you've seen my apartment room be really like kind of damp. Like I have to turn on multiple lights from different sources, but as you can see, no light, no light. And so it's just the ceiling above light that's, well, keeping this well lit. And I really like this. So with that out the way, I can talk about baseball. But before I talk about baseball, let's talk a little bit about myself. So I grew up playing basketball for 6 years. Never played in high school or middle school, unfortunately, but I played in AAU and I did okay. It wasn't the best, but I was good enough to make rosters. But in my last year of high school, I made it to varsity badminton. Now, with that out the way, I can talk about what I think about baseball. In high school, I thought baseball was the most despicable sport you could watch. It was slow. I thought it was like an old timer sport. Nobody young really watches it. And I just thought compared to basketball, there was no, the joy level wasn't so high. Well, what got me to change? Because clearly by this title, what makes baseball attractive? Clearly something must have changed for me. And I guess what changed for me was I started seeing on YouTube like these like highlights of like players, hitting into the McCovey Cove, right, of Oracle Park at San Francisco, and the players would hit the home run, bang, the ball goes flying, goes into McCovey Cove, and it got all the way. There's 100 and something like home run hits into McCovey Cove, and I think that sparked my interest. But was it enough? No, I definitely didn't watch any more baseball until I came to UC Riverside. I think coming to UC Riverside, there was a baseball club on campus, so I got to see the catcher's mitten. I got to see jerseys. I have a jersey now. Anyways, but more importantly, somebody in the varsity. His name is Steven, and he's an avid Giants fan after like moving to SoCal, going to UCLA, and then going to UC Riverside to be a staffer for the varsity. He described to me how, I guess, exciting it was to watch baseball, why he's a fan, what drew him to baseball, and where he sees the game currently. Currently, he sees the game as like deteriorating, but I it was because of him that I got sucked into baseball. And so far, having gone to the Coliseum for opening night this year, unfortunately, the A's are moving away, and I've gone to Oracle Park one time. What have I seen that makes baseball so impressive? I think we got to start with the price. The price for, I guess, the Giants game was like $26, and I was in like the upper levels. Good view. I could still see like who's hitting, right? I could see the billboard. I could see any of the. I could still track the ball, right? Great. I can see the action for cheap price. Add on like transportation in the Bay Area. Public transit is pretty good, so didn't have to pay much for transit. You know, it was pretty. It was solid. It was pretty good. Much better than Chase Center or Oracle Arena for basketball. I think for basketball, the price range, if it wasn't like a promotion deal because of Cub Scouts or because of like something else, I forget. I think it's like $150, and now it's like 200 something dollars for like nosebleeds. I always said nosebleeds, and I will say this. I mean, I had an absolute blast watching Klay Thompson drop 37 points in a quarter. But for the price, knowing now, maybe I will just watch some TV. I won't lie, like it's very expensive. $150 for one game at the very top. Can't really see anything. By the way, we bought popcorn and some hot dogs. Not cheap. I mean, the same can be said about like baseball games. Like I've been to the Coliseum, I've been to Oracle Park. It's not cheap, but tickets are cheaper by a lot. And so that kind of mixes it up. Like, sure, I'm paying similar price food, but the tickets to get here are much, much cheaper than the base basketball counterparts. And so the price already is very eye appealing as for someone trying to connect with family, trying to find low cost connecting family opportunities with my dad as a college student. I think the next one that baseball kind of has like that thing for it is culture and history, right? It's basically the sport that came out of America and went to Japan, right? It's the sport that kind of spread before basketball, right? Definitely before American football. American football, while it's still pretty popular, um, it's not it's not as famous, I would say, compared to baseball, right? Because baseball's now in the East Asian countries and it's drawing attention, right? With Shohei Ohtani, he's one of my favorite players. I'm buying his jersey, even though, yeah, I do have a Giants jersey, which some people would say you're a traitor. But going back, so the culture, I mean, it was developed in like what, the late 1800s, and then it's still here to this day, more than 100 years, right, of history, right? You have teams moving around, right? The Brooklyn Dodgers, the New York Giants, moving to San Francisco, moving to Los Angeles. The rivalry continues. World Series, how hard are they going back to back? How hard is it to have a dynasty? I mean, the legends, Babe Ruth. I mean, even though I didn't know anything about baseball, I knew about who Babe Ruth was. I knew about him. And that's the thing. There's history. As a history major, that's my interest. um, but I think even in the Bay Area, like I didn't know anything about the Giants players. I knew about Buster Posey. I knew about Willie Mays. I knew about Barry Bonds. They're legends, right? And so I think baseball has added a lot of history and culture to the cities and that majority of fans in those cities rep that team for. Now let's talk about the creation of space to catch up. And I think this is what puts baseball over the top of basketball games or like in person, right? Obviously behind the TV, very different, very similar. In person games though, it's very different. With basketball, you have to continuously watch the action. The only time you can just stop, take a break, and eat food or talk to your family is during halftime show. But during baseball games, when the Giants weren't um, hitting the ball, when they were on defense, I would take that time to talk to my dad. I would tell him, this is how the game works. That's a single. Dad, that's not a home run. He actually hit it back, right? Um, there are moments like that I can create. I don't have to focus all my attention on the game. I can spend that time with my dad. And I think that's where baseball excels at creating time and spaces in the game, throughout the game, consistently, right? I mean, towards the end, maybe it's less consistent because if it's really competitive game, everyone's watching the action, defense and offense. But there are moments in the game where I can sit with my dad and just talk about something totally different from baseball. And it's totally fine. We don't miss much of the action. We just see, oh, it's a strikeout. Now the Giants are back on the field. Cool. So it's always fun. And I think the last one is kind of obvious. There's a lot of numerous promotions, perks. What I mean by that is like I think when I was scheduling the Giants game to watch my dad on my birthday, the promotion was like Filipino Heritage Night, and you get like these fancy like shirts. I don't have the shirt. I'm wearing an InterVarsity t-shirt, but there's a fancy like jersey or shirt that you could get if you had the promotion ticket. Now the promotion ticket is much more. It's more expensive. Now I wouldn't say much more. It's more expensive. I don't know how much. I haven't checked the price, but I know it's more than a regular ticket price. But you can get bobby heads. You can do, um, I don't know, hats, right? Hats. I think the Giants had like a Mickey Mouse hat to mock Dodgers. I think that was pretty funny. But another thing I've also seen from baseball is the creation of spiritual spaces. Now you might say, Nathan, this is about sports, not religion. And you're right. But the Giants and many, like I guess, baseball teams across the league have found ways to include religion in sports, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. You're appealing to multiple audiences and fulfilling different needs to attract people. From a business standpoint, that's an amazing move. For me, as a person who's Christian, who's someone who wants, who likes to worship God, right? Having, I guess, these meet and greet with like Christian like baseball players after the games and hearing their testimonies about God, or singing songs of worship after the game. I think that's incredible. I think that's a great opportunity. That's team bonding for, I guess, your group at church. That's maybe another team bonding experience for your intervarsity team, right? Before the school year starts, right? If let's say us at UCR go to the Dodgers game and we stay around for the meet and greet with players. That's an amazing experience for us. We get to watch the game, but we also get to hear something that refreshes us and gives us motivation heading to the new year, right? And that's all I have to say. But so far, I've really enjoyed baseball. I've really enjoyed not just watching baseball, but enjoying the spaces and the opportunities that baseball games have allowed me to have with friends, family, and just the people there in general. Singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Take Me Out to the Crowd." It's just, it never gets old. That song is in my head still when I hear the. Like, you don't have to say the words, and it's in my head. So I'm kind of in love with baseball right now. Moving off basketball, but I mean, I'm still a basketball fan, but I think baseball is getting me attracted. Plus, my favorite player, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he had 50 and 50. You can't really beat that. So, well, that's why this is it, the video. I'm thankful if you stayed around to the end. I know longer videos are harder for people to watch, especially if I'm just yapping, which I am technically doing, but is information. And if you're new to baseball, I welcome you to the sport, and I hope you enjoy watching baseball. It's cheap. If you don't like it, you didn't spend 150 or 200 bucks for upper seat like in basketball. So it's it's a low cost chance at entertainment that you might like. That's, I guess, the most bottom line, I guess, way to put why I like baseball. Maybe low cost chance at entertainment and spaces with friends and family. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.